Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Hypnosis for Entrepreneurs show. This is our second episode in 2 days, and very pleased to present this to you. My name is Allan Curtis. I'm a professional hypnotist and live on beautiful Vancouver Island in Canada. It's not quite so beautiful today. It's a bit cool, actually, so I've got my sweater on to keep me warm. I'm pleased to present this session in a Facebook live stream, and the objective of our program is to educate people basically about hypnosis, meditation, and mindset, really any topics that are related to those themes. And I'm really pleased today that we have Debbie Littlefield with us, Littlefield, sorry. And Debbie has agreed to join us today and to present a short episode for you to explain some of what she does and give you a little bit of a demonstration about a technique that she has developed. Debbie is a certified mental strength trainer as well as a certified hypnotist. Debbie, where do you live? Sorry, I forgot to put it down on my notes.
Florida.
Florida, beautiful. That's right. We talked about that, didn't we? Beautiful Florida.
Yes. Yeah, it's all bright and sunny.
Can see it out your window there. It's beautiful. Anyway, Debbie's specialty is she has a comment in her Facebook page. In a world that is steadily becoming more chaotic and angry, it's Debbie's mission to restore peace and calm. So that's a great mission to have. And she founded a website and a Facebook page called Modify My Mind, which she presents some really intriguing and interesting information. You might want to go and have a look at that. We'll put the link up a little bit later. But she offers custom audio tracks that you can download. You can use these to help you achieve a deep state of relaxation. And I think that Debbie, maybe you can just clarify, but I believe that your main goal or your main role is to promote change. When people come to you, it's basically looking at their situation and determining what changes they would like to make in their life to become more successful. So
that's correct.
Okay, so with that, I won't take up any more time. I know you've got a great presentation for us, and so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome author, speaker, and stress management specialist, Debbie Littlefield. I keep calling you Littlefield. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Littlefield.
Fine.
Welcome, Debbie. Anyway, so nice to have you here today, and I wonder if you could just briefly tell us a little bit about your background and your experience, and then you can we'll just lead into your presentation from there.
Well, I'd be glad to. Thank you. Yeah, a few years ago, I found myself very stressed out and overweight and very unhappy person. And I found meditation first. And by learning to meditate, I would get myself into that really calm, relaxed place. You know, that really, that really nice, quiet place. And I discovered that while I was in that place, I could watch my thoughts and discard any thoughts that didn't serve me. And I could add behaviors that I wished for. I had done childcare for a lot of years. I hadn't been used to being around many adults, and I really needed to work on my confidence and my self-worth and being able to look at people and speak to them. And so these kind of things, I would go into this place and I would work on for myself. And then I discovered that state that I discovered was hypnosis. So I wanted to share this with everybody else who decided that they wanted some help for themselves. So I went and got certified. I hold 3 different certifications in hypnosis. and I began my practice with Modify My Mind.
It's a great title. I love it. I agree. You know, that your story is definitely ringing some bells with me, because it's very much the same in terms of how I got first involved in the industry. So that's great. Thank you. So let's just jump in then to your presentation, and I won't interrupt you for a little bit. We'll just put you up on the screen, and you can take it away from here.
Okay. So Alan asked me here to do what we call the pond analogy. And I use the pond analogy when I'm talking to people about mental strength. I'm a mental strength training facilitator for Salvatore training. We go into companies and we help them with their achieve mindset, achieve a language that they all can share, so everybody's talking on the same level. So I use this pond analogy to explain why mental strength. So it starts with a glass of water that we're going to pretend it's our pond. Now we're comparing our pond to our mind. So what happens to water if it just sits undisturbed? It goes stale and stagnant. So we need a steady flow, just like the pond. There's a steady flow of water, or for us, information, stimulus, everything that's going on around us flows into our minds, just like things flow into the pond. Well, throughout life, things begin to happen to cloud our pond. Things are flowing into it that aren't exactly healthy. And it starts from when we're just a little child. So I'm going to hold this glass here. And so you're a little child, and let's say you're hungry and you didn't get fed on time. And that clouds your pond just a little bit. And then you're growing a little older, and your best friend moves away. And what happens? It adds a little more mud to your pond. So now you're in school. Oh boy, you didn't pass the test. And it adds a little more. And then you have to go home and you have to tell mom and dad, I didn't pass the test, I didn't make the grade. And you get in trouble. And that adds a little bit more. And off to high school you go, and you get a crush on the girl, and you really want to ask her out, and you finally get enough nerve to do that. And guess what? She says no. That adds a little bit more dirt to the pond. And then you go for your first job interview, and you're all excited. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get a job. And they turn you down. And that adds a little bit more. So you see your self-worth and your confidence and everything is going down a little bit. Every time a little bit of dirt is added to your pond. Well, by the time you're an adult and you already have all this mud in your pond, and then you're doing adult things like getting married, but the marriage doesn't work out, and it adds a little bit more dirt to your pond. You might lose a job, become unemployed, the kids run away, whatever happens in life, it just keeps adding more and more to your pond. And so it's no longer clear. So as adults, we decide, wow, let's clean up the pond. Let's get our minds right. Let's work on ourselves. So we might get a book and read the book. We add some clear water to our pond. But what happened? It's still pretty foggy. So let's go to a seminar, a self-help seminar. You know, somebody really cool like Tony Robbins. And we're going to pour in some more clear water into the pond. And look, it's still pretty foggy. So we can get some more books, we can go to more seminars, and we can keep adding and keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. And as hard as we try, our pond is still just a little cloudy, more than a little cloudy. And another thing, while you're doing this self-help work and trying to clear up your pond, life is happening. So while life is happening, you're also adding a little bit more dirt to the pond as well. So without having a method to clean up the pond, to filter the pond, and keep it filtered every day, we have a really hard time moving forward with our plans. And that's what I love to help people do, is to clear up their pond, to begin with a clear mind. Did that make sense to everybody?
I'm sure it does. It's a really good example, I think, or a demonstration of how life's influences and experiences will build up in our minds. The thing that I often think about is that, virtually every experience that we've ever had in our entire life, or anything that's been told to us, is all retained in our subconscious, and it builds up over time, right? And so your analogy of the tea clouding in the water is very good. It really brings that home. And
I think one of the points is most of us believe that with the self-help work that we're doing, that we're starting with the clean pond. But those things keep coming up and block us from moving forward and doing what we really want to do.
Right.
Becoming who we want to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you see it then as people can make changes in their life, and they can help to clear their minds a little bit, but they will never fully clear everything on their own. That essentially, at some point, if they need to clear some of those older issues that they have, they really need to seek outside assistance to do that.
Well, outside assistance definitely does help, because we can teach you the methods to clear the pond, to filter the pond, and
right.
the methods to clear the pond daily. So every day you're starting off with a clean, fresh pond. And, because all through our day, there's going to be more and more stuff happening that's going to cloud the pond again. But to be able to... starting off with a clear mind, you need to filter it on a daily basis. So that you need the methods to clear the pond, and then to clear the pond daily. So you're always starting off stronger.
Right. So you're in a constant maintenance mode, basically, to ensure that your pond is not getting toxic and negatively affecting your outcomes and your abilities.
It's definitely a maintenance program. It's something, if you just allow it to run, when everything running into your pond and you're not cleaning it up, it's going to get cloudy again. Right.
So from that, do you have any sort of one secret that you'd like to share with us in terms of how that analogy could be applied to the individuals, and sort of what is it, the one thing that would make a significant difference for them in terms of helping them to clear that pond?
Well, I would say the first thing that I always tell everybody is you can't change what you don't notice. So you have to begin to start noticing what you're thinking about, how you're thinking. It's so important. And unless you're taking the time to stop and think about what you're thinking about and just moving along on autopilot, things will not change. You have to notice first. So I recommend to a lot of my people, a mindfulness bell. Have you heard of that?
No.
No, it's an app that you can download either on your computer or your phone. I know my family remembers it as well because I set this mindfulness bell to go off every 15 minutes. And it would just ring a bell and it would remind me to stop and notice what I was thinking about. And then at that point, I could change what I was thinking about if it wasn't productive. And believe you me, most of the times it wasn't productive at all. You know? And
Yeah.
it took a lot of work. And I had this bell going off every 15 minutes. And my family would go, "What is that?" And I'd go, "Well, it's my bell to remind me to think about what I'm thinking about." And after a while, I moved it to every 30 minutes. And then every 45, and then an hour. And now I don't use the bell anymore. I just know to stop and think about what I'm thinking about.
Cool.
So
That's
that
a
for me
good one.
is the most useful start.
So it's like being in the moment, right? Consciously taking a few seconds to just realize exactly what is happening and what's going on around you.
Right. It's so easily to get led, once our mind gets. I remember one time I was thinking a thought and I wondered, how did I get to here? Why? I was driving and I was like, why am I thinking this? And so I started thinking backwards. What thought I had before that, and what thought I had before that, and what thought I had before that. And it turned out to be a street sign that started that whole chain of thoughts. So, you just never know. Just the simplest little thing will hook your attention and off you go. And unless you're monitoring and making sure that it's for you, useful for you, what you're thinking, because a lot of times, it's not. It's telling us all kinds of things that we don't need to hear or, don't want to hear.
I don't want to hear. Yeah, for sure. All those little triggers that will bring back hidden memories or feelings that we don't even realize are there, and suddenly, we have this sense of a sadness or anger or frustration or whatever it might be, and have no idea where that trigger has come from or where that feeling has come from.
Exactly.
So being in the present, being in the present then really helps you to, I think, better recognize, but also to control those kind of events in your life.
Most definitely. So sorry I interrupted, but I wanted to expand a little bit more about the feelings and my mission for peace and calm. I really do believe that people have forgotten what it feels like to truly be relaxed. And without that memory, when a stressful situation comes up, we react just like we always react. And without having that memory to be able to call on it, to calm us down, we become angry and anxious and frustrated easily. And I'm sure all of you have realized that the world is becoming a little bit more frustrated and a little bit more angrier and a little more chaotic every day. And I don't know if you knew aggressive driving. I was shocked when I learned this, that there are twice as many fatalities from aggressive drivers than there are drunk drivers.
Wow.
That means twice as many people are hurt or killed by an aggressive driver than a drunk driver. That's huge.
Yeah, it sure is.
And then you've got to ask yourself, where are these drivers going? Most times when a person is in their car, they're either going to work or home. So who are they affecting with this aggression? And so that's my key mission to restore peace and calm and help people remember what it feels like to be calm, so they have that moment to call on.
Yeah, no, that's a great message, and you're so right. I mean, every day we see road rage and things going on that you just sort of shake your head and say, like, where's that person coming from? And of course, we don't know, from the outside watching a situation like that. You have no idea what it is that has triggered them, or why they are in that state, but it's so easy, I think, for people to react with those kinds of behaviors, the anger and the obscene gestures and all those kinds of things, yelling and screaming and all those things that go on almost automatically, triggered by some event or some belief system that they have that is basically controlling them and changing them from the nice person they really are into this rather uncontrolled and dangerous individual. It's quite scary. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't believe that anybody just suddenly becomes angry. Even on the road. I mean, there's something already there.
Yes.
To trigger that kind of anger. And I believe it's built up stress. People aren't managing their stress, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And let's say you get up to go to work and your alarm clock goes off and you put on your slippers and you get the perfect coffee and you get in your car and you drive off and everything is rosy, and you get to work and you sit in the chair and the boss comes up and asks you for something and you're like smiling, sure, But let's say that your alarm clock went off late and one of your slippers was under the bed and the coffee was cold and bitter and you got into the car and there was traffic and now you're late and you get to work and you sit in the chair and your boss asks you to do something. You're going to a very different kind of response because of all that built up stress. So people really need to learn and work on managing that kind of stress before it comes anger.
Right, because from the boss's view, he or she has no idea what you've been through that morning. So by reacting in that negative way, the message can be magnified because the person has no idea why you're giving them that message, right? They're expecting you to be the happy, cheerful person that you usually are. And it can be quite off-putting, really, to the other end. And then often the person will react in anger or frustration back, and things then just escalate out of proportion.
They accelerate. And even if they don't accelerate, by treating another person that way, you're adding to their basket of stress.
Yeah.
So even if they don't react at that moment, you've added to their stress. And so they're going to go on throughout their day, picking up little more pieces of stress and adding it to them. And sooner or later, they're going to have the same kind of angry reaction. So if everybody took responsibility for themselves and learned to become, learn to manage their stress, the world would be a lot more peaceful. That's for sure.
It sure would. Yeah. It sure would. I think you just have to relate to some of the social media messages that you see where for no apparent reason people are just being brutal and, criticizing, putting people down and generally being deliberately hurtful to people. It's a strange world we live in these days. We're all connected with this instant communication, and there are no filters. There's nothing to prevent me from calling somebody whatever I want to call them. And it's a bit scary because our young people are growing up with those kinds of influences constantly going into their heads and into their minds. And it doesn't just disappear, it gets recorded. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the current generation grows up and matures and how that will impact on society as a whole, because all that negativism and criticism and sort of snarky comments back and forth will have a huge impact on their life in the longer term.
Oh, most definitely. Children really, really take it personally. Us as adults can weigh it out and, consider the source. But children don't do that. And
no, they don't have the filters, right, that we do. And,
and they really need to learn, a filtration system to clear that. So what doesn't work.
So hypnosis, I guess that leads to hypnosis and the treatments that are possible, or the benefits that are possible through hypnosis. I personally haven't been involved that long. It's been about 1.5 years, I guess, since I went and got my first hypnosis treatment that basically displayed to me the power and the significance of the mind and what it can do. And obviously, I only know a very small amount, like any of us. If we're only using 10% of our mind, what is the other 90% capable of? And it's just so intriguing and so interesting. There's a lifelong learning going on there, and I won't live long enough, I'm sure, to learn all there is to know. But what an amazing field, and the gift that you and I have to be able to learn that and to be able to help people to overcome some of those feelings of anxiety and stress and anger. It's purely a gift. It really is.
Hypnosis itself is so relaxing in itself that if it didn't do anything else, it will teach you to be calm and peaceful.
Yeah. And so often, I find anyway that when I hypnotize somebody, I like to use the progressive muscle relaxation techniques, because nobody these days knows how to relax properly. And going through that process with somebody, separate from, any sort of therapy that you're doing for them, when they come back out of that relaxed state, the look on their face is just priceless.
It is. It is. I totally agree. It's awesome.
It's amazing field. So anyway, I obviously would recommend anybody out there who has any sense of stress, a lot of stress in their lives, or frustration or anger or resentment, all of those kinds of things, that they seek out some assistance with those things, because it's just so much easier to deal with them and so much more effective to work with somebody to overcome those things and turn your life around into a happy, enjoyable, and joyful experience, rather than one full of frustration and anger.
Exactly.
So we're just about near the end of our time, but I understand there's something exciting coming up. Tell us about your new book.
Oh, A Manager's Guide to Keeping Calm. Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's mainly targeted towards the person in the middle, that has staff and employees under them, and people they need to report to on top. And they have so much stress, and
for both ends.
For both ends. And they have nobody to go to. Because if they go to the uppers, they're showing, that they're not capable. And if they go to the other people, then they're not trusted and respected leader. So they're stuck in the middle without people to go to. So those are the people that my book will reach out to and help remain calm in the workplace.
Yeah, it's a lonely place in the middle. You often hear senior managers talk about how lonely it is at the top, but I think that the middle manager is really the one who gets the worst of it, because, as you say, they have this pressure coming from both sides, from the top and the bottom. It makes life so much
in the middle,
like a sandwich, right? They're in the middle, and it's almost a lose-lose situation for them, because no matter what they do, they're never going to make everybody happy, either above or below them. So what is
through techniques that they can learn to remain calm, And then the final chapter is about hypnosis and how it can be used to help instill those behaviors.
Good. Okay. And when is it due to be released? How close are you?
Well, I'm still a little ways off.
Are you?
Yeah, it's like at the manuscript state, so it needs to be edited, and then published. So I'm a little bit off, but I'm eagerly working.
Yeah, what a great project though for you. I mean, it's a great goal to have, and just the learning that goes on as you research and put those thoughts into words and put it on paper can have a huge impact on you yourself, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Anything else that you want to mention, Debbie? We're sort of at the end of our half hour. So, I mean, there's no magic time where we have to cut it off, but I just wonder if you had any last minute thoughts or comments that you'd like to make that would be of interest.
Well, I would just like to ask everybody to take more responsibility for their anger and their anxiety and stress and learn to manage it. And let's make the world a little bit more calmer and peaceful so everybody can live in happiness. And let's live productive, happy lives.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great message. And I'll just put your website address up for people if they want to connect with you. Debbie has both a website at what's it called, modifymymind.com and a Facebook page as well under MMM Debbie is the name on your Facebook page, with the MMM, of course, stands for Modify by My Mind. So
correct. And if you go to that modifymymind.com and put in your email, you can get a free relaxation audio.
Perfect. Okay, so there's a bonus for everybody to take advantage of. Visit Debbie's website and be sure to enter your email address there so that she knows that you've contacted her and make a connection. So I'd like to thank you, Debbie, for a great interview. I loved your demonstration, and I hope people relate to that. It's quite effective to actually see the gradual increase of the quote dirt in the pond or the effects on our mind. And I think it's as you said, it's something that people tend to forget about, and does need to be addressed. And we do need to maintain our pond. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much, and maybe we'll have you back again one day, and let's keep in touch. And if you have anything that you come up with that you'd like to share with people, we'll be here. We're going to do these sessions 1 or 2 times a week, basically just inviting people from different modalities within the healthcare sector to have a chance to get their message out to people. My personal objective with this is to educate people about hypnosis, and that is my primary interest, and to try to overcome some of the myths and misconceptions that are out there with respect to hypnosis and the way that it can help. And so I hope to have a lot of interesting people on, like Debbie, and I really appreciate you coming on so soon in the series. I haven't really got this perfected yet, still stumbling a little bit, but having some fun. We're having fun with it, and I hope that people will join in and follow us, and just generally keep informed about some of these topics. We'll try to keep it as interesting as we can and keep it to about 30 minutes so that it doesn't become too much of a commitment for anybody. My website is Hypnosis for Entrepreneurs on Facebook. It's called, just that's the name of the page, Hypnosis for Entrepreneurs. My main focus is entrepreneurial people who are in business, either brick and mortar stores or online. I mean, the mindsets and the issues are the same. So I would encourage anybody that might be in that that group to come along and say hello, like the page. Go to my website is actually allandcurtis.com. So that's Allan with a D for Douglas, and have all kinds of material and content on there that you might find interesting. Pretty much all related to hypnosis and dealing with the issues that entrepreneurs face from day to day. Things that hold them back from success. And so my goal in doing all of this really is to help those who are struggling to overcome some of those limiting beliefs and to set them free so that they can achieve their own personal goal. So with that, I'd like to wish you all a good day. And thanks again, Debbie, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you, Allan.
So long, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.